Greetings, good people, and welcome to Black Comic Characters. This is Donald E. Jones II, aka Solly Two Kings. We now come to the last and current age of comics, the Modern Age. The Modern Age runs from 1986 to the current day. In some discussions, there are a few ages that have been added within the Modern Age, such as the Copper Age from 1985 to 1991, the Extreme Age or the Dark Ages from 1991 to 1998, and the Movie Age from 1998 to the present day. But in order to simplify things, we will just be using the Modern Age. In the 1980s and the early 1990s, Black communities are still striving forward. MLK Day was first celebrated in 1986. Colin Powell is the first Black man to be named chairman of the United States Joint Chiefs of Staff in 1989. The dreaded practice of apartheid in South Africa finally ended in 1994, and Nelson Mandela was elected President of South Africa. In the early 2000s, that brought forth the first Black president of the United States, Barack Obama. In this time, it also brought to light many innocent unarmed Black men and women being killed by police, such as Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, among too many others. Finally, the death of George Floyd sparked mass protests around the world against police killings, as we have seen over the summer of 2020, which leads us up to the current year of 2021, where we see the youngest inaugural poet in U.S. history, Amanda Gorman, and the first Black and South Asian woman as Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. In comics, we see even more progress in Black comic characters than the previous ages, which is brought about by a realization that diversity needs to be addressed. During the late 1980s, we are introduced to a few Black comic characters such as Night Thrasher, Silhouette, and a recognizable foe to Spider-Man known as Tombstone, one of the few Black albino characters. In 1992, the comic world was rocked by the abrupt exodus of some of Marvel's top artists. Eric Larson, Rob Liefeld, Jim Valentino, William Portacio, Mark Silvestri, Jim Lee, and Todd McFarlane went on to create what would be the third largest comic company, Image Comics. Among the first comics that Image created, Todd McFarlane created Albert Simmons, who would be cast into hell for his life as an assassin and would become the infamous Spawn. Spawn ignited a lot of excitement, and he continues to excite us to this very day. In 1993, Dennis Cowan, Michael Davis, Derek Dingle, and the late Dwayne McDuffie got together under the umbrella of DC Comics and founded Milestone Comics, in response to the lack of diversity that they found in the comic book industry. With the foresight of these four gentlemen, Milestone Comics introduced us to characters such as Hardware, Static Shock, Icon and Rocket, and the Blood Syndicate, among others. In the same year, Marvel introduced the Black Panther's Royal Guard, the Dora Milaje, with their esteemed leader, Okoye. The 2000s brought in a number of Black comic characters. In 2005, we were introduced to Black Panther's mystical and tech genius sister, Shuri, in Black Panther number 2. The same year, Michonne sliced through the scene in The Walking Dead number 19. In 2008, the Blue Marvel made his first appearance in Legend of the Blue Marvel number 1. Then, in 2011, Spider-Man fans were greeted by a new Spider-Man, one that would later take the world by storm. Miles Morales made his first appearance in Ultimate Fallout number 4. In 2013, the son of Lucius Fox, Luke Fox, took to crime fighting under the moniker of Batwing, and in 2016, a highly intelligent young Black teenager was able to reverse engineer the suit of Iron Man in the Invincible Iron Man number 7. Riri Williams would soon after take on the title of Ironheart. In 2019, Naomi, in Naomi #1, would enthrall the comic community with her mysterious origins, and in 2020, Casper would take on the mantle of secret holder in Boom Studios' 7 Secrets. Some may call this part of the modern age the movie age, as we see our heroes come to life like never before. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, or MCU, injected comics into the mainstream like never before. The DC Universe as well brought characters to the TV and the silver screen. In the MCU, we see War Machine, Falcon, the Black Panther, and a young and adult Monica Rambeau portrayed. DC brought Cyborg to life, and Netflix brought forth Luke Cage and his cast of characters. Also, in this later part of the modern age, we see a great number of independent artists and writers outside of the mainstream comics bringing their creations to life. Among them are Marcus Williams and Greg Burnham with their series Tuskegee Heirs, Brotherman by Dawood Anyabule and Guy Sims, and the Niobe series by Sebastian Jones, Amandla Stenberg, and the team at Stranger Comics. These creators and so many others are finally able to produce new and wonderful ideas into the world of comics. In addition to the numerous Black creators introduced in the 2000s, a number of conventions are also created to feature and display their unique talents. Some of the conventions are the Schaumburg Black Comic Festival in Harlem, New York, the Kim Comic Fest in Newark, New Jersey, the Atlanta Science Fiction and Fantasy Expo, and OnyxCon, both in Atlanta, Georgia. At the time of this recording, we have had some very big announcements in the comic book community, such as DC's Future State, which will recast the main DC pantheon of characters with a new cast. One of the big changes is the casting of Lucius Fox's youngest son, Tim Fox, as the next Batman. Marvel just announced many characters being cast in the upcoming Disney Plus shows, such as Ironheart and Lando, which will follow the adventures of the famed Star Wars character, Lando Calrissian. Also, Ryan Coogler, director of The Black Panther, and his production company have just entered in a deal to produce a show about the world of Wakanda. On the DC side, we see Javicia Leslie cast as Batwoman in Season 2, Anna Diop cast as Starfire in Titans, and celebrated director Ava DuVernay is currently working on a live-action series of Naomi. So we are seeing a plethora of new Black comic characters come to the pages of the comics that we have collected for years, and to the screens where we can see new iterations of these characters in live and animated formats. I would like to thank you for coming along this historical journey of Black comic characters. As new characters and new shows come into fruition, we shall be taking a look at their developments. We will explore in depth many of the characters that we discussed in this video and the previous ages in future videos. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like button, and if you want to see more content, please subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment below and let us know your thoughts on these characters in the modern age. Please be well, and again, thank you so much for watching. Until the next time, peace.